Good day, Raiders. QSL here. Today I'll talk about the famous Rockgrove ad pools that are a nightmare for quite some groups. First, I will let the video play. You'll see how we did it on this specific day. In less than 2 minutes, you'll see all the pulls before Bahsei, and then I'll go back and I'll comment on each of them. I'll describe the group strategy, which skills we are using for survival and damage, of course, which tank taunts what, how the DDs avoid and mitigate incoming damage, and last but not least, how do the healers out-heal this massive incoming damage. So let the video play. Enjoy! Okay, let's go. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh boy, where's the guy?
We bring forth Salvaka!
My Horner Diniacolo. I'll spam Ice Wall now and use the synergy. Yeah, I don't know. The tank has a meteor, don't stack on me, please. What a meteor. Well. Don't tell anyone. This is like a super secret strat, eh? Bone Shield. OP skill. Mana and Mystic. 3, 2, 1.
Die with dignity.
To the side.
Okay, secret strat. Secret strat. Wow.
No.
Shit the archer. Keep L'Oreal.
That healing was fucking amazing. I thought I'm gonna die.
3, 2, 1.
May God deliver us.
How much is the ball? Let's go. 3, 2, 1. I take red. You take the rest.
Into the pits of destruction you go. We bring forth Salvaka!
6. Oh boy. Don't overlap.
That was definitely easier for me.
Oh yeah.
I think it's better with an enemy. So, a lot to go through. Essentially, we got no deaths here. The pulls are not extremely optimized. I'm sure it can be done faster and nicer and whatnot, but it's a good start. Essentially, what we do position wise is the tanks go first, obvious, right? And then the DDs make sure are standing in front of the healers, just dealing damage, and the healers place their pots and burst heal them, right? I'm gonna describe a bit more in detail what each of the roles does now. So if you want to skip ahead, you can see on the YouTube progress bar, you can just pick ahead. First, I'll start with tanks. So I'll scroll back. I'll show what we're doing and describe which skills we're using, how we're splitting things. If you want to see DD or healer, feel free to skip ahead. So let's say the first one. I'll disable the in-game noise, just the audio, so I can talk clear. For this pool, there are two two-handers, Reavers, and there's one mage, a Soul Weaver. There's many ways you can split these ads. We've done it in many ways. I don't think there's one way that is better than the others. If you have a better suggestion, please feel free to leave it in the comments, as they say. This is just one option. Yeah, we tend to split high threat targets, so there's a bit less pressure on each of the tanks. But essentially here, each of the tanks will take one of the two-handers. We say you take left, I take right, or the other way around, and then I additionally also take the mage. We do not taunt any of the small ads and wolves and whatnot. So you can see here, me and L'Oreal, we're going up the stairs quite ahead of the rest of the group, just to make sure they don't get soft aggro from any big threat. And range taunt, first the Reaver, which is the two-hander that will be in the front, and then we run towards the mage. One note here, maybe some of you already know, but once you're sprinting, you stop blocking. And you may get the big slam from the two-hander. So make sure that once you're close to the two-hander, either you roll dodge forward or you just hold block and keep moving forward. If you happen to be holding sprint when you get the, let's say, the fast heavy attack on you, you will probably, die. So let's watch it. In this case, okay, we had a little bit of chatter here. Usually, the river that spawns here would be behind the pillar, more on the right. I was a bit surprised to see it here, but it doesn't change anything. I would normally sprint more towards the right and taunt it there. In this case, a small detour, and then I came, take the mage, we stack everything. You see we have not used any ultimates. I don't know how we do it exactly, but usually we have the standard one horn and one colossus, and then some DDs drop ults and some don't, depending on the pool. This is not a very dangerous one. So that's it. Okay. So one thing here to note, I keep blocking all the time, mostly, especially when I'm expecting a heavy attack from the two-hander. As soon as you see Earthquake, there is an add-on that I wrote for this trial that you can find in the description that adds some notifications like this. There will be this circle on the floor that does quite a strong damage over time. You have to get out of it, even if you're a tank. What we do is we roll dodge towards the group. I've seen some tanks, they roll dodge away from the group, and then they essentially cannot cross, or like they die while trying to cross the circle. So you just go towards them, and that's it. All the ads should come, and they'll kill them. I'll go back to check a couple more things that happened here. Okay, let me go back just a little bit. A bit more. All right, so the progress bar you saw, it's quite fast. It's Thundering Strike. It's the heavy attack that you need to block. Then Astral Shield. So this is the group killer. I know many groups are having troubles with this. Essentially, what this is a cast from the Soul Weaver. It puts 500,000 shield on all the units around it. I think it's something around 8 meters around it. And those shielded creatures, of course it's a shield that absorbs damage, will explode when the shield is destroyed. And for each explosion, there will be a projectile cast into the group that deals around 12,000 damage. So what can you do against projectiles? Well, many things. Decays and Shadow Knights and Wardens have special abilities to deal with it, but you don't need to use them. Something you can do is either roll dodge them, but it is a bit fast to react to it. The best way is to anticipate it. You know when the shields will explode. Now they come up, and now they explode. You can see the projectiles going into the group. So once you get this timing, you can avoid it. Another way is block casting abilities. I'll get into that later on the DD section. After that happened, you see I tried to time my roll dodge also with a shield explosion to avoid damage. The less damage you take, the easier it is for the healers. And the next cast is this sort of comet that happens on 3 random players. It can be on the tanks, it can be on DDs, on whatever. Any DD, any player can survive one of these comets, especially if you block it. But if you overlap 2 of those, if you get hit by both at the same time, you may survive as a tank. As another member, I am not so sure. So essentially we get them get out of the group, explode away, and then come back. You can see here, I call it, I say there's one on me, so please go away. One DD goes out there, the other out there on the right. They explode, come back, and we just finish the pool. Now that I watched it multiple times, I realized we could have stacked the big ads a bit closer. We could have pulled some of the smaller ads a bit faster, but that's about it. Okay, let's get into the next one for tanks. Here there's the Butcher, Mage, Soul Weaver, and the Archer. So the Butcher places quite a strong dot on the tank, and when it stomps the floor, it creates some sort of fire wave, I guess, that places a strong dot into the group. It used to be roll dodgeable and avoidable, but they changed that. So now it just needs to be out healed. The archer has a channeled cast, form of taking aim, and that's about it. What we do is we focus the archer. So the whole group, you will see, will go towards there because the archer itself jumps after a while. It still needs to be taunted. A single light attack from the archer can kill a group member. So the 3 targets we will taunt is the butcher, the archer, and the mage. Again, many ways to split this. Typically, whoever takes the butcher only takes the butcher, but you can also take the mage and the butcher, things like this. Yeah, tanks need to additionally interrupt the archer. In this case, let me remember, I do take the mage and the archer, and the other tank takes the butcher and brings it there. Let's watch it. I taunt one, then the other. Stack there, you see the Colossus and the horn go off here. We drop some ults. We get, again, the Astral Shield. As a tank, you can try to roll dodge it, like I did here. And now you can see a channel taking game. In this case, you want to interrupt the archer. Otherwise, it's more damage going into the group that you can completely avoid. Once the... I don't know if he stomped already. Yeah, he did. Okay, let me go back a little bit. Let's keep an eye on the butcher now. The big guy with the axe. Okay, so he stomps here and creates this wave of fire. At this moment, the whole group has a relatively strong fire dot that needs to be out-healed. You can see the health bars keep going up and down. It's important that the healers are behind the group and can burst heal the group, essentially. One thing we should note, apart from the small ads, which could come a bit earlier, is that even after the boss dies, the dot remains on you, both as a tank, if the ad hit you, or as a other group member, if there was a stomp. The next pull is the easiest. Honestly, essentially, we split the river on one tank. I take the river, the other tank takes the archer. You have to really taunt it as fast as possible because it will shoot towards the group. I'll talk more about that later. Stack everything on the archer. Make sure the group does not dump ults here. We want to save them for the next pull, which is going to be slightly harder. And we want more burst damage there. Here, just taunt the big ones, stack them, take it easy. There's not really a big threat. Make sure to interrupt the archer, that people don't really stand on top of the earthquake. Here you can see I take one, run towards the second one. Be careful with sprinting. You may get slammed while you're not blocking. Chain the small ads together, interrupt the taking aim. Roll towards the group after the earthquake, like right here. And things should die relatively quick. Although we forgot the small ad. Okay, this is the real deal, the big pull. So essentially, there's 4 ads that need taunting. There's a barbarian on the stairs, up on the left. Then there's a butcher on the back. One of the guys on the stairs will not move. He's just there for show. So there's a barbarian here, the butcher on the back, and then there's a mage and the two-hander, River and the Soul Weaver. What we do is one tank takes both of the red guys, and the other tank takes the two-hander and the mage. We stack everything on the mage. The DDs focus the mage, and we burn it. So why are we splitting it like this? Essentially, the two-hander hits you hard, but not very often. So you just have to make sure you're blocking at that point. And you have to make sure you position outside of the earthquake, roll towards the group once you have it. The mage is not a big threat, but it needs to be focused fast, so that's why we stack everything on top of it. Regarding the other 2 ads, both of them apply some sort of damage over time on you. The barbarian applies a bleed, and the butcher applies 2 dots on you. One which is done by its direct attacks on you, and the second one which is by the stomp, which is embalsaming stomp, I think, emblazing, I'm not sure, which applies the fire dot to the whole group, including the tank, right? So you'll have a lot of incoming damage that needs to be out-healed. You can help with that. Shield yourself, heal yourself. Of course, that depends. Mitigate damage, that depends on the class. Let's take a look. There's a lot going on, so I'll try to pause it at every different mechanic here. I got the barbarian first, then the butcher. Quickly go into front bar, block while things are being stacked. And here everything is happening at once. So first we got the earthquake. That's the big AoE from the 200. Yes, from the 200. The group will need to go away from it, and the tank holding that. Well, essentially both tanks will need to roll through it towards the group. You can see here the Butcher and the Barbarian are not very well stacked. Like they may be taking some damage, but if they were on the very center, all the dots and wall of elements and orbs and the burst will be hitting them essentially. So I will roll towards the group at the same time the earthquake happens. When the astral shield explodes, so I take a bit less damage, and then these two should be there. You can also go earlier and roll dodge from there towards the group. That would be probably even a bit better. Here what I do is I try to cast Ice Blockade as much as possible, which drains my magicka. I do roll dodge this heavy attack, the uppercut, from the Butcher, so I mitigate some damage, and here the Barbarian starts the channel. Now, on top of all of that, you can see the second icon down here is the flame dot from the stomp is about to expire under this, so they need to be out healed, and they can leave now the group safely. So they get the comet on them, they block it, then they don't overlap with anyone, and then quickly come back. You can see this ad still has a shield, so that's some potential surprise damage that will come from behind. I think it's perfectly safe to wait a bit longer to stack these smaller ads with the rest of the group. When there's like maybe 1 or 2 ads left, you can safely pull them in and they'll just be cleaved. You can see the shield just exploded, but it was only once, so it was not a problem. This is untauntable. This will, well, like you can taunt it, but it will just jump towards the group who has to block. Big heals, and we're done. You can see here that I still have the dot that the Butcher applies by attacking me. So make sure you heal yourself a little bit. What's next on the menu? Well, now let's talk about damage dealers. How do we do this as damage dealers? I'm not going to go deep into which sets to use, which skills to use. That's very class dependent. Depends on what your team composition will work with. But I will tell you how to position and how to essentially be a good team player and be the one that survives consistently. Once you survive consistently, then you can optimize other aspects, right? Like you don't want to be the single one that keeps dying, right? Like, yeah. Okay, so what do you do? What do you do? First of all, you do not go first on the ad pulls. There is no reward. There's nothing by going first. At most, you're going to get an additional light attack and probably a big slam on your head. You make sure the tanks go first. Not only they go first, but you leave a healthy margin behind. And let them do their things, stack their things. If you've done this trial with the same tanks or the same group a few times, you know exactly where they will stack. In our case, it's around here. So you can start placing your wall, your orbs, whichever ground dots you are using. You see everyone is shining. All of these are coming with proximity detonation activated. Ready. Hopefully the timing is and channel acceleration as well. Hopefully the timing is just right so it explodes. Let's see. Boom. I saw 1, 2. It explodes right when they have all the buffs, all their critical chance, and when things are stacked to maximize damage. Now, what's going on? First, there's going to be 2 earthquakes. There's going to be an astral shield. As a DD, you should be aware of this. You should know what the ads do and how to react to it. What happens first? Let's see. Everything happens at once. This is an Astral Shield 5. First, what can you do? You can try to roll dodge it. There's no warning for it. If you try to react to it as soon as you see it, it's rather short, but you can predict it. You can learn the timing, and you can see how often it happens. Now the message came up, and now the explosion happens. Boom. So you just wait this fraction of a second and then roll dodge. Then the earthquakes, just be away from it. Don't step on it to try to squeeze more damage. The ads are coming. Just wait a second or 2. And you're going to get that. Something else you can do, apart from roll dodging that, if that's not very accurate, is hold block. You hold block, you roll dodge while you're holding block. And then as soon as you come up, if you're still holding block, you will still hold block in case there's some leftover projectiles. Yeah. Make sure you position yourselves in front of the healers so they can heal you if you take damage. They're going to be focusing the group. Their HOTS will be below you, the same as your damage is below the ads. And And yeah, that's about it. Now for the comet, just make sure you don't have any strong dots. Go away from the group, drop it, explode, block it, come back. You see here, it takes a bit longer to get healed, but as soon as he enters the group, boom, fully healed. Right. Don't try to focus on one small ad. It will come. The damage will take. If there's small ads that are not stacked, it's not your responsibility. It's the tank, so should be pulling them. So here you go. Finish them and move on to the next one. Again, please let the tanks go first. Next pull on this one. Yeah, so there is some stuff going on. There is the butcher, there's the archer, and there is the mage. What you will want to do here is tap target the archer. Don't go ahead to do it. You can jump from below the stairs, or as you come up, tap target and focus it. The reason is that we want to kill it before it jumps away. So first identify where it will stay, where the tanks and the group will stack the enemies, and then as you go up, make sure to cast your dots there. In this case, you have to look, oh, the archer is moving, then don't drop your ults yet. Okay, it stopped moving. At this point, you can already drop your high damage because all the other ads will come here. If they are moved after this, there's not much you can do. You should not be expecting things to move away. Now, same story as before, Astral Shield, block cast, try to roll dodge the projectile as many people here do. And keep dealing damage. The focus now is obviously the butcher. Even if they're small ads, they should be pulled. Even if they die a bit later, it's, again, as I said, not your responsibility. Check, you don't have the dot, stay with the group, make sure it gets out healed, and then continue to the next one. This is very easy, nothing special. The only thing I would say is the archer from behind can shoot a soft aggro player from the back. If you're a DD, coming to this pool, either by holding block or try to roll dodge it. You have to learn the timing a little bit, but you can look at the archer here. Now he's shooting. Then you try to roll dodge as you come forward. Same story, you place your dots, proximity detonation, and start your AoE. I do recommend you don't use ults here because we want them for the next pull. This is a bit of a relaxed, easier one. Now, the real one, the hard one. What to do here? Well, there is a lot to do. First, don't die, and second, deal damage. There's a lot of damage going on you, and there's a lot of mechanics going on the tanks, and a lot of work the healers have to do at the same time. So make sure you, as I said, stay in front of them. Don't be the first to engage this pull because you will trigger it very early. If you take a few steps onto the stairs, these Dorzoks will already aggro and the whole pull will come. This specific fight becomes a bit easier after the small ads have died because those are fewer shields the group has to deal with. So if you're here just for a clear, do a pull, kill the small ads, or even do a pull, kill one target, and repeat, do a second target, and so on. What we're going to do here instead is just stack everything and burn it. Stack and burn. Wait for things to be stacked. In this case, we will stack everything on the mage. You can place your damage on top of there. You see everyone is very nicely, tightly stacked with the healers behind, healing the group. And now you see, oh, look at this tank. He could have stacked these ads better. Trust your tank. Hopefully, they will stack it in the group. Just keep dealing damage to the high priority target. In this case, 6 shields. You know, if this hits you fully, you're going to die. So you have to try to dodge it, block it, avoid at least some of the damage. You don't have to perfectly avoid every single of the 6 sticks. But if you avoid 3 of them, if you avoid 4 of them, that's already immensely helpful. Now, what do you do here as a DD? You have this circle. Do not expect other people to move out. Even if you don't see anyone around you, just move away from other circles. Wait until the comet falls down, hold block, and everyone lives happily ever after. That's about it. Now, let's go through the same pulls for healers. What should you do? I will try to go a bit faster. Let's see if I manage. Personally, disclaimer, I do not play healer, or I do not play often. I have not healed this trial So all I know is from playing with healers or in general discussing skills and raid composition with the rest. I mostly play tank and from time to time DD as well. Still, I will describe some generic things healers should be doing in this specific trash pools. So let's go ahead. Here, just go behind the group. Make sure to spot where your group is stacking, right? Your target here are not the enemies, but it's your group. You want to keep them healed. Place your HOTS below them. You know how this fight is gonna play out because there's earthquake, so the group is going to roll backwards as soon as there's an earthquake. So make sure your HOTS include both the position where they are and the new position where they will be if they last long enough. As you come in, you can make sure the same way some DDs would pre-buff with channel acceleration and procs that and all this stuff. You can already start casting regen on them and some other buffs. Right here, before the big damage comes, as soon as you've placed all your heals, you see Astral Shield is beginning. It's about to start. So what we do here is we make the healers, or I told the healers to run Bone Shield or Bone Surge from the Undaunted skill tree. What that achieves is it gives a shield to everyone. Once the DDs press the synergy, which they will, they are furiously smashing X, but also Major Vitality, which makes them easier to be healed up, right? Even if it's a small shield, it will mitigate maybe 1, 2 of the projectiles, depending if they are blocked or not. So that is cast. Now it's up to them to use the synergies. They have done it, and now the shield detonates. At this point, when the burst damage is coming, you should not be refreshing your dots anymore. You should just be using your burst. Typically, Combat Prayer, there's an ability from the Restoration staff everyone has available. Just make sure you aim it in front of you. All the DDs are covered. If not, tell them to stay in front of you. And other classes can use any other burst AoE heals, such as the mushrooms from Warden and and so on. You guys probably know healers better than me. But in general, I would really recommend just looking at the group using Combat Prayer. That's definitely more than enough, as long as your HOTS are ticking. HOTS, that's in heal over time. Now that the DDs go away, it's very good to do what this healer is doing. Make sure you refresh regen at this point. If there's a DD that left for the comment and happens to be low health, they will get the smart targeting of this ability. And at the same time, the healer, you can see here, is likely block casting. Yeah. You don't want to die as a healer. Basically, if you're down, that's bad for the group. Less healing, probably that's the end of it. If you as a healer have to use a support ability like a Colossus or a Horn, make sure to use it early on so you have enough time to place your HOTS. Let's move on to the next one. This one is a bit more important. Same thing applies. Make sure to use Bone Search right before the projectiles come out. And additionally, you have to time your HOTS so they last. At this point, when there's the Fire Slam, the HOTS have to be up and they have to last the whole duration. You see, it's 6, maybe a bit more than 6 seconds. And during those 6 seconds, as long as everything is running, your orbs, your illustrious healing, just use Combat Prayer. As these go down, it's like a rhythm. They go down, they go up, they go down, they go up. Just keep burst healing. Make sure you aim it so you hit the group and the tanks as well. Since they take a lot of damage. And that's about it. For this pool, honestly, there's not much I can say, so we're just gonna quickly watch it without stopping. Just if you come in and the archer shoots, make sure you're done. Get shot with the arrow, get out of the earthquake. Any amount of regular healing will do here. Now the last one, which is the truly hard one. Again, same tips. I'll try to highlight the most important things. Have your healing over time on the floor placed. Use Bone Search when you want to mitigate some stronger damage, like in this case, the Astral Shield. And after that, when there's a dot damage over time and your HOTS are ticking, just use Combat Prayer. Boom, boom, boom. Slam that stuff on the floor. Every global cooldown, and your team will be fine. Just make sure to stand behind them. We can see here how it works out. You can see the abilities. You can see here the flower abilities. It's cast a bit forward. In this case, to hold on. Actually, that's from the tank. The warden is a tank. To make sure it also heals the group. Then roll backwards. Make sure everyone is still in the HOTS. If the group starts spreading around, that's really not much you can do. Just make sure you heal the people who stay. When damage dealers and when the group learns that if they stay alive, they will keep doing it. Don't reward bad play. You can try to help someone that gets an extra mechanic, perhaps some aggro, or the comet. Use regen on them, but at this point, just keep your orb up and slam that stuff. Combat prayer, combat prayer, combat prayer. Big heals. And that's about it. That's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching. I hope this is helpful. If you did like it, or you think it helped you or it can help anyone you've been running trials with, please feel free to share. I will be very, very happy if you do. The more people it helps, the happier I am. Leave a comment if you have any question. If you disagree with something, it's perfectly fine. I'm certain we're not doing it perfectly. There's perhaps things we can improve, or even abilities I'm not aware of that could help this fight even more. So far, we're pretty happy with doing no death with this group on these few trash pulls. And the usual, I I hate to say this, but please subscribe. Thank you very much for watching, and have a wonderful day.